Completely in excess. That is what we got. All right.
Yes.
I didn't hear the ding, but I think it says live, so I'm going to start.
It does.
Welcome to Section 31, episode number 230. No, that's wrong. It's 296. I clearly wrote 36, but that's not right. It's 296. So just completely ignore the title of this YouTube broadcast if you're watching. However, the download should have the right number. Welcome. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Rogue Schindler.
And I'm clearly 60 episodes ago when we talked about probably a tournament and maybe an episode of the animated series and maybe a spoiler. So perhaps we're right on because that's what we're going to talk about today.
I don't think we've been doing it for that long, have we? Certainly not the animated series.
No, we haven't talked about it every episode, and it sure feels like we've been watching it for a long time. Or at least this episode seems like it went on for a long time.
Oh, yes.
So the episode was Albatross. It had a lot of parts, and it didn't ever stop, but it was very, very slow, I felt. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm one ahead, so I don't even remember what happened because I blocked it out.
So these guys with orange heads who kind of look like prototype Ferengi, maybe. They've got the big ridge over their eyes, and they've got kind of ears that stick out a little bit instead of stuck to the side of their head. But they've got big, huge cranium ridges on the back, and they're bright yellow, and they've got big eyes.
That's right. And they accused Dr. McCoy.
Yes. Accused Dr. McCoy of being a mass murderer many years ago.
Quite randomly. Quite very. Oh, by the way, you've been here for an undetermined amount of time, and we thank you for helping us with all of these things that you've helped us with. But by the way, we're going to arrest and execute your chief medical officer.
That's like facing a dilemma after you've solved the mission.
Oh, well, there's our card.
Right. Plays on the mission. One of your people is threatened unless you have law or all these things. He's discarded at the end of the mission. That's perfect. The mission starts with McCoy, Spock, and Kirk down on the planet. They're shaking hands with the leaders, and as you said, by the way, you're under arrest. You're not going anywhere. Thank you, Hello, for helping us. Maybe that was it. Maybe they were just waiting for their mission to be complete so that they didn't spook them.
Yeah.
So apparently, they mentioned in passing that the justice system on this planet is not the best, and they have to hurry up and clear McCoy's name by going to a faraway planet where there's plague somewhere. So
it's like where he was accused, the planet in their system that this incident occurred.
Right.
Where McCoy was there, and then everybody died, so clearly it was McCoy's fault.
Well, yes, he was the only other person who could have possibly done anything since, plagues don't happen on their own. They only happen when random humans are there, right?
Sure.
So
we're plague carriers.
Yeah, they fly over there. They go through this weird aurora, which, had they not used this trick, was it last episode or the episode before?
Just recently, no more than 2 episodes ago.
They went through this aurora, which had no purpose other than to, be a what is it? Chekhov's aurora, I guess.
Deus es aurorica.
Yes, it'll be important later. So they go there. They find McCoy's being held, and Kirk and Spock fly the ship there. They've got this stowaway from the planet who is. I don't even know why he followed them.
To stop, it sounded like to stop them from going there
in a shuttle against the Enterprise. Yeah, I don't know. So he sneaks on board because they opened the back door for him. Although that did lead to a great line where he just says, "I have been tricked." That was awesome. They capture him more or less and then let him wander around. They go to the planet. They beam down. There's people running around in that they try to catch up with, and they apparently not everyone died because not everyone was from the planet was on the planet. Everyone else who happened to be away came back to the planet and was so despondent they lived like homeless people for the last however many years, 30 years, 20 years.
Yeah, they just kind of want. Well, they're so in despair for their lost families that they decide to stay there and wander the the desolate remains of their planet.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got
Except
these.
except for one, the one person
Right.
in this entire population of people on this entire planet that apparently survived and remembers Dr. McCoy.
And happens to be at the cave entrance while they're talking about him.
Yes, 19 years ago.
Yes. So there's this old guy, old Damarian, who says, "Yeah, I remember McCoy. He treated me for this disease, and all of a sudden I survived this other one." Oh well, we won't think about that too hard. That might come into play later, and so they decide to take him back so he can testify for McCoy's benefit that someone who saves people like this guy wouldn't have been a mass murderer or whatever. Okay. And they leave, and then they pass through Aurora again because that's important. And then they start turning colors because not only does this do the two guys they brought back are they getting sick, but Kirk and everyone else except Spock, who's Vulcan and doesn't fall prey to this illness, everyone else is changing colors because that's what happens in this disease. You change colors,
which they very uncunningly drop at the very beginning of the episode, talking about this disease on this planet that was so many years ago happened to do this, and for no reason I'm going to mention that it does not affect Vulcans, other than that it's going to be important to the plot later. Just very no intrigue at all. Like they didn't even try to cover it up. Like just and by the way, Vulcans are immune.
Yeah,
I'm sure that won't become important later.
Of course, it's important later because everyone's sick except Spock. Everyone's kind of fallen apart and can barely do things, except when they have to. Like, Kirk needs to operate the transporter, so of course he can get up and then work the thing and then fall over. I did like the fact that they said, yeah, you turn blue, and they turn green, and they turn pink, and then you die. So that leads later on, we can show them now they're blue, and now they're starting to turn green. Oh, I got to get them before they turn pink again. And then when they cure them, they turn pink because, that's what color people are in the cartoon world. I kind of thought, oh, look, something happened. Oh, they're going to die. Oh, no, that's just the way the color they are normally. I guess it would be more important if you start out yellow, like the Damarians are, then turning pink would be bad.
Right.
So Spock has a TOS insignia, so he can fly the Enterprise by himself. He flies back to the main planet. And he beams down and breaks McCoy out and takes him back. He warns McCoy that, hey, there's a plague on the ship. You got to come and help me. There's some interesting banter there. McCoy, Spock.
I have to stand trial.
Yeah.
No, Doctor, I am breaking you out so that you can cure us. Then you can come back and stand trial.
Yeah. And you're gonna beam up to the plague. He says, I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. I was really waiting for I'm a doctor. Not a doctor. Close. I'm a doctor, Spock. A doctor. I'm like, what are you not? Come on, tell me.
Yep. It was very almost there.
It was so close, and that would have been the card had it been something else. I'm a doctor, not a squeamish intern or something like that. I don't know. So he beams up, and between him and Spock, they puzzle together that first people were changing colors not because of the disease, but because of the aurora.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Traveling through funky clouds make your ship go nuts, and it makes your skin turn color if you're sick. Okay, that's what we've learned with the last 2 or 3 episodes. Sure. So when they analyze the symptoms, now the computer says, "Oh, that was clearly a red a red herring." They it's because of this stuff, and they say, "Well, now we know that. That's great. We still don't have an antidote." And then Spock says, "Oh yeah, remember that guy you cured? Yeah, he's still alive. Maybe if you use that cure for something else." And they pass it around, and everyone turns back to their normal color again.
Whatever you gave him for the other disease, either made him immune or inoculated him or cured the plague. Yay. Yeah. This episode had a lot of it felt very building block-esque. Like there was the trial, we're going to use this trope and this trope and this trope, and we're going to put them all in a blender, and then we're going to film whatever shoots out. And then we lost that script halfway through. It was just like, there was nothing. I mean, we were pointing out some of the flat holes, but there was really nothing horribly objectionable. But there was also nothing horribly interesting. It was like,
No.
all right, this is a trial episode, and this is it's a medical disease episode, and you put your hands together, and it was like, okay, and that's it. We solved it. Oh, we're sorry. Okay, we're all friends now. Bye.
Yeah, it was very, very linear and
Let this be a lesson to you,
hmm?
random alien people. And just like Kirk is just like, well, we sure hope that doesn't happen next time we come by. Just like totally laughs it off and like,
yeah. So I would rate this as probably, boy, we've only got 2 episodes after this one. This is probably going to be only one, Vulcan salute out of 5. I can't. This is just not good. I did not enjoy it at all. There was a little bit of Spock and McCoy banter, but it was all nullified by the horrible Spock and McCoy banter at the very end.
Oh yes, that was terrible.
That was just painful. I did not appreciate. You can read that to avoid watching the entire episode. You can read. They transcribed that and the wiki article about it on Memory Alpha.
Oh.
Yeah, it just unfun. So next week is How Sharper Than a Serpent's Tooth, which doesn't make much sense to me as a title.
Well, it's a quote.
Okay.
So it's a Shakespeare quote.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, we're going to throw this in, but I've watched.
I'm sure it's central to the plot. I can't wait to find out.
I can't wait to mention that to you after you watch it.
All right. Let's move on from that unfun thing to
the next unfun thing. Tui.
I wasn't going to put it like that.
But you just laid it out there for me. I had to take it.
All right. So you hosted a Tui tournament on Saturday. I saw a note that you just posted to the group that thanking people for going. It looks like you got 2 unexpected visits, so you had 6 people.
We did. We had 6 people, which is it was good that I went, I guess, for an even number, but I was really only participating so that we would have enough people to do it. So I wasn't really thrilled about that. And then it was 2 of the more competitive players in our region, which kind of throws off this is going to be 4 people who are kind of just like, all right, let's just have fun playing goofy 2E decks instead of, okay, and then we have 2 people show up who are going to be always super competitive in every tournament they ever play in. Ever.
All right, so what was the final rundown? Who did you end up playing?
Well, I started off against JD. And got to learn my deck a little bit. He was playing, so I almost grabbed. I have my my Tarek Noor deck from Masters.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like that deck, and I don't really like playing 2E. So if I can find something I enjoy in it, I left it together, and I almost just grabbed that and brought it, but I was like, well. I saw somebody, I think it was, shoot, I forget who I stole my deck from. Oh, Lucas. I stole Lucas's deck online, and I wanted to find something that had a few new cards in it, but was still fairly mindless, and this one looked like it was a speed solver. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll throw this together. And I was most of the way through sleeving it before I realized that it was like one of those decks that I really don't like.
So?
Just because it's like, it was Mott the Barber, and
yeah.
it didn't do the it did do, it wasn't like 4-person micro teaming, so there was that, but it was very much a 1 cost, 2 cost, just regurgitate people onto the table and attempt on turn 2, and it was actually kind of interesting. I enjoyed aspects of it because it was I had no attachment whatsoever to any of my people. Which is usually a big issue for me. I like that's part of why I like 1E is like, okay, you get these cool guys and they come out and they're big tanks and you try to save them and you try to keep them. And then, you know, when they die, it's like heartbreaking. Whereas this was like, okay, I literally came out and JD, like, he was playing a Tragic Turn pile.
Oh.
So
Okay.
he mowed down my people. And I was like, cool. Now there's 5 dilemmas under there. And because the deck was that there's the new event for TNG called New Life.
Okay.
So anytime a person attempts a mission with 6 or more people, you get to draw a card, and the person attempting that mission gets to draw a card.
Okay. So you attempt it with at least 6, and you get to draw 2 cards each time. All right.
And the shtick is to go to Rigel 10 as your first mission, which says if you attempt with 6 or more people, you may draw 2 cards. If you do so, your opponent gets to draw and spend 1 more dilemma. So, you know, I grabbed a bunch of guys. I got 3 copies of that new buff guy, or universal guy who is bigger when you both players have at least 4 cards in hand, which is pretty cool. So I drop my hand, move over, draw 4 cards. Everybody dies. I play 6 more guys and go over and attempt and so on. But luckily, I noticed right away, because I'm usually not very good at this, that JD was playing. Excuse me. He was playing the new Dominion headquarters.
Okay. So you're expecting to need an extra few points?
Yeah. So I look down, and I've got 35, 35, 30, 30 on my missions, and I'm going mentally back to my deck, and nope, there's no point scoring in this deck. So as soon as he slaughtered my first crew, I was like, okay, on to the next mission. And so having just played you in that ID draft, I remembered, so I didn't solve. I went to my next mission. I started mowing that down, and then I built up a few crews, and I couldn't get my second ship. It was rough. I ended up having 5 ships in the last 20 cards, and I just couldn't dig it out. But I waited and I waited and I waited, and I honestly, there was a point at which I almost just didn't throw a dilemma because I wanted him to solve this mission so bad. Because I was waiting to while I had no points for him to solve, so and then hopefully I would have a little bit of time, and that's basically what ended up happening. He finished solving. I moved a crew full of people to my space mission and left them there. Didn't attempt. Had my new ship, was waiting to build up new crew, and then that was when he thought he had a guy out that lets you initiate battle. So he came over and beamed onto my ship with his dimensional transporters or shifting, and then was like, all right, I'm gonna beat you up, and then he couldn't find the card to do it. And I guess it was still in his hand, or he hadn't drawn it, or he thought he saw it when he was downloading something else. And so because I kept waiting, I wouldn't have flown out there and left my ship at a space mission against Dominion if he had an engagement or an assault on the table. So he calculated. So we're like, okay, let's rewind. He went and attempted his mission, finished that, and then I was like, okay, here we go. Solve this planet mission, attempt this space mission, which was super easy, and I was able to have a few people left over, and then move over and complete the last mission, all in one turn.
Nice.
So I didn't have to lose any points. And
okay,
then
very good.
4th mission. That was pretty much the highlight of the day. Like I got around that one sort of hurdle, but Matt really didn't do anybody any favors when he basically conceded to Nate in his opening round. He didn't even they didn't even sit down to play, which given that Nate actually was not, he was playing a fairly fun deck, which I found out in round 2. But it made for really weird pairings all day because Nate ended up going undefeated, but everybody else was like at 5 points, and it was really weird. We didn't really have like TK and Nate never played each other, even though they had done really well. Charlie beat TK in the first round. which we discovered. I was really disappointed to see Nate and TK, mostly because those super competitive decks always have really small dilemma piles.
Yeah.
And I had opted not to bring that Tarek Nor
Right.
dilemma mill, but Charlie had.
Wow. Did he run someone out of dilemmas?
So I don't know if he ran them out, but he definitely ran TK short enough to get a win, and he had a really good run against Nate in the last round. I was able to hold Nate into a timed win. Unfortunately, I kind of, I don't want to say gave up, but I really didn't, because of the way the deck is supposed to work, planet space. Even if I had powered through my last mission, we would have been tied at 70, and he would have won because he had planet space.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay.
So, but we had a good game. He was playing a sort of, improvised 2E KCA. So he had Rasia and Kronos and all the non-aligned guys, and he was actually having a good time. He was playing them all and mixing and matching. And
what was holding them together? I mean, because that's pretty disparate group of people.
The Vorn. He had Duras and Taral, which was letting him download. He was able to, despite only ever having 3 treachery Klingons, he managed to keep them around pretty well. So that as long as you have those 3 treachery Klingons, that gives all your treachery people the buff. And unlike the Fortune, it's not just on the ship; it's anybody at that mission. So you get it at the planet missions too. So he squeaked by a couple of times. I watched him go from 21 integrity to 34 integrity just on tricks.
The Vorn says, while your 3 treachery personnel aboard, ship is attributes +2. While your 3 treachery personnel are aboard, each of your treachery personnel at this mission is attributes +1.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That sounds fun. So just everyone's treachery and everyone. Yep. Not just your Klingon treachery. All of your treachery.
Exactly. Okay. So as long as he's got the treachery to trigger it, the 3 Klingons, then all of the rest of your Cardassians and online and everybody gets that buff. So it was a really cool mechanic, and he did some interesting things with it. He played some really good. I went out for my second turn attempt as per usual. For this deck, and he was like, "Wow, oh my god, you got to be kidding me! You're attempting already? Oh, okay." And I did the trick where I don't have any cards, but I draw 2 cards. And now I have 8 cards, and I'm gonna do all these cards. And he goes, "Dreamer of the Dream, hard stop." It's like, okay.
Well, there you go.
Necessary execution. That's what it was. Dreamer of the Dream, necessary execution. Like, I can't even, if I were to pull up my binder and be able to choose dilemmas to play against that attempt, I don't know that I would choose anything else. That was definitely, ideal. And so that kind of, all right, pitch my hand, start over. But he had some really good dilemma plays. I did not, and he was able to pull out a time win there. But it was interesting getting to see the mechanics of his deck and do that sort of, because we've tried that. I know Thomas. I stole Thomas's KCA Bajoran deck a while back, and I really love playing that. But I'd never seen anybody try it from that angle, so that was really cool.
Cool. All right. Sound. Did he end up winning the tournament then?
He did.
Wow, you got an achievement for winning with a KCA deck?
Maybe, not yet. Maybe we should.
There's no deck posted, so I can't go through it, but that sounds fun. Neat. Yeah. All right. Well, I am buoyed to know that he won with a deck that was entertaining for not just him, but people played against. Sounds like.
Yeah.
Except for Matt, who didn't play. All right. Yeah. I see Matt came in second place after conceding the first round. Huh?
Yeah, and the his both of it sounded like all of his Nate's games were very close from the people who played him. So if he didn't want to play that badly, then I guess he didn't want to play, so that's fine. I know TK was bummed, and he was poking Nate all through tribbles to stick around and play round 4. And I told the guys, I like, hey, look, if I'd known you guys were coming, we planned for 3 rounds. JD's wife has been a little under the weather, so he brought Amelia, and so she was fun to have her around, but he didn't want to push his luck. He was happy that she lasted. I had only planned on staying for 3 rounds and then taking off, so it wasn't like we might have been able to work out a 4th round, but half the people were like, well, we have plans now. So, we could have played that 4th round if we had known we had that many people coming, or at least tried to work out the pairings. But when I left, TK and Nate were sitting down to play, and TK was negotiating with him to try and get him to stay. He's like, all right, we'll play Planet Space. Just most of a game. Go on.
We'll play Slipstream. Come on.
Yeah. So TK was playing, and this is where I nearly conceded. Relativity.
That's a good deck.
It is a good deck, and but I've never had a good experience with a game involving that deck. And it doesn't matter what side I'm on. I've just never. I've had a plethora of negative experiences from all sorts of sources regarding that deck, and so I was just not. I didn't want to do it. So I'm like, all right, well, this is going to go quickly anyway. He beat JD really fast, and he lost to Charlie because he couldn't play dilemmas. So I'm like, all right, I was able to get through a mission, but he got through 3 missions, and at the end he's like, well, I didn't Kirk. You keep complaining about Kirk, but I only Kirked 1 dilemma the whole game. I'm like, but how many mission attempts was he present for? I guess all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went and got him back every time. I secret ID'd him twice. Every time he came out, I managed to anachronistic him once, which was pretty fun. But it didn't matter, It's like
not only the use, it's the threat, right?
That's right. It's either I have to overcost and spend too many dilemmas, or I have to second guess what order my combo goes in because I don't know which one you're going to Kirk, or I have to just hope you're not going to Kirk, and then you do, and then my dilemmas are not enough to stop you. So, still an overpowered, undercosted card, and not fun to play against. So in addition to all of the other shenanigans that go along with that deck. But what I did find, and this was kind of a sad way to think about it at the end, I guess, but I was moderately encouraged by the fact that I was able to be a little more detached with my game. I guess because I didn't have any people I cared about, and I didn't make the deck. I didn't slave over, constructing. Is this going to work? Am I going to get it to do the thing I want it to do? I really want to do this cool thing, and then even though I'm not trying to win, or obviously the winning is the ultimate goal, but I want to get it to do this trick and hopefully have that be successful. I was just throwing cards on the table and throwing them at missions, and they all died, and I didn't really care. It was like, on the one hand, it was kind of liberating. I was like, I was able to really enjoy my game against Nate because I wasn't stressing about, am I going to get the thing I need? Are these people going to die next turn or whatever? And he had some really good plays that I will admit, when things come at me like that, it gets really frustrating. Like, oh my gosh, you undid everything I was trying to do with a really good play. And I have to admit, that was a really good play, but it's, maddening and frustrating when you're trying to do something. So I was able to sit back and relax and say, okay, hey, good play, laugh along, killed all my guys, well done, I'm going to play more, but it was a good job. So that was a little liberating and freeing and kind of nice. But on the other side of that coin afterwards, I was like, I had absolutely nothing invested in this tournament because I really didn't care whether I won or lost. I didn't have any skin in the game.
Yeah, no stakes, huh?
Yeah, so You know, for a 2E tournament, I guess I'll take it because I really don't want to get any more invested. I'm pretty much as divested in this game as I can be and still play it.
All right. Well, maybe you. So what we need to do is find the next in the line of decks based on personnel you don't care about.
I guess it's less the people and more like the goal. Like there was no tricks. The trick was really simple and it worked every time, and it was not hard to do.
Mm-hmm. So you need another scrub deck that just goes and puts people out and attempts a mission, and if they die, start over again. All right,
but it it wasn't really satisfying when it was working. Even though like the only thing that really was satisfying about my win against JD was the fact that I was able to work out, how to get around the headquarters.
Yeah, and keep yourself away from a fourth mission.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's puzzle solving on the fly instead of puzzle solving during deck building, which
Right.
Okay. Well, after that, there was a round of tribbles. Did everybody stay?
No, JD, even though he really wanted to, took off because of the aforementioned issues. Wanted to get back to his wife and get Amelia home while she was still in a positive way. But that meant we had 5 for tribbles, which is generally the ideal number. And we had a good round. We definitely finished before time. We had a couple of discard decks and very little in the way of toxins.
Interesting. So the rounds must have been quick then.
Some of the rounds are quick. We had the one requisite death round, lots of Masakas. I managed to get a couple of rounds. I threw in a couple of antes, mostly as another form of discard.
Yeah, that's what it's good for, as long as there's no one else playing Copalas, or even
that,
if it is.
Yeah, but that ended up being all the points I got.
Wow. All right.
But yeah, so TK went out big during the death round with a rescue/discard deck, and that ended up being enough to sort of carry him through. TV tried to catch up. He got a 400,000 going out pile words. And then and got some other bonus points later, but he wasn't able to catch up to the 750 that Thomas TK had thrown down. So Battle of the Thomases was won by TK in this case.
Okay, well then, congrats to the folks who haven't been around for a while, Nate and TK.
Yeah, and Thomas showed up for tribbles.
Yeah, that's okay. So he joined you for tribbles. All right, very good.
Yeah, and Charlie sat out.
Okay. All right. You're good. Congrats to the 2 winners and folks for joining. I'm sorry I couldn't make it down for random tribbles. One of these days I will, or a tournament or something. What is next on the docket?
Next is 2 weeks. We have 1E constructed OTF, and then
OTF. Okay.
Tribbles with troubles.
All right. I've got a baseball game for my daughter at 1 o'clock, right in the middle of that tournament. So give me a call or send me a note for tribbles, and I'll see if I can get that done. Especially if you do it as late as you did, or as early as you did last time, like 4 o'clock or whatever that was.
Yeah, this week it was really early. But even when we played 1E 2 weeks ago, tribbles started around 5:30. So yeah, we were walking out the door at 6:15. It was really cool.
Cool. Yeah, it leaves the rest of the evening open.
It does.
I was reminded on Friday night we had a few people over for games night, and it felt like on Saturday. Well, we had our games night, we had our fun yesterday. Today must be Sunday. No, I got a whole nother day. So leaving that tournament early, leaving the rest of the evening, that really makes it, makes the rest of the weekend a little easier if it's not, you're not spending the whole day there. All right. Well, it's on my calendar. We'll see what we can do.
All right. Well, I'll keep you posted.
That leaves one more topic. We've talked about the animated series. We talked about 2E, and now it's time for a 1E spoiler. This is for, I don't even see what this is, but I'm guessing based on the graphic on the front page. Do we have a name yet? We just have
I don't think so.
no. We've got a picture of somebody's belly button, and we've got chips from here to New Beijing looking for you. Where have you been? That looks like a distinctively TOS uniform, though. But that's a DS9 quote. It's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
else would they say
it can't be a TOS quote.
Yeah. So
unless that's a well, there was one other show where those TOS mirror uniforms showed up.
yeah, but we're still working on that.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and I'm saying that we're not in anywhere. Well, we're pretty far along, but we're not anywhere near enough to release whenever this is going up. So, further evidence that this is a DS9 quote is the spoiler that we have. Agreed.
Agreed. This is Kira Nerys, another Kira Nerys.
Hey, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has. And this one is not even mirror, although she's mirror related. Right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm searching for Kira Nerys to see when the last time we had one. Well, we had a Kira founder in set 33. This is set number. We have. Oh no, that's a 2E.
So you're looking at 1E or 2E, yeah.
All right, I'm less interested that we're not getting a Kira in every set because this is a 1E card. All right. All right.
Well,
yeah. So this is DS9 property logo. So I don't see a mirror icon on it. So this has got to be. No. But she's got. She's
Bajoran. That's important.
Okay.
To note
because affiliation. So we don't have a visual spoiler on here. Otherwise, I put it up. We have text, and the text says the first three icons are Command, KCA, and Terran Empire. Which okay.
So she's playing for both teams.
I guess so. She doesn't have biology. All right. No, she has officer though, and her lore says first officer of DS9. She accidentally entered the mirror universe while commanding the USS Rio Grande in 2370. Spitting image of the intendant.
So a couple of cool things in there. Commander. She's a magic commander for the Rio Grande.
Yeah.
And the intendant.
I'm guessing that's going to be bold and italics, right?
Sure. So she is not all, but she's a persona, mirror persona, but also she's got the KCA symbol and she says the intendant. So she's a free play.
She's a free play to the intendant. Okay.
To the intendant, to herself.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I was looking at that TV list and my mind was like, well, you can't play them both. Oh, wait. No, this is first edition. You can play them both at the same time.
Warp your mind.
But on the other hand, okay, so Kira Nerys in first edition, right? We've got the first one gets a bonus against Cardassians. We got one that gets a bonus against Dominion. Is that the?
Yep.
All right. I want to say there's a Romulan, right? Am I thinking of something else?
Yeah.
Okay. And this one is
Colonel Kira, I believe.
Yeah. Strength of 8 plus X, where X equals 3 versus KCA. And so she's good at fighting them. She's good at reporting to them. But you can download Study Divergent History. What is Study Divergent History? Do we know that yet?
We do. That was in the last set, wasn't it?
I think so.
That's the it's like file mission reports, but in opposite quadrants or something like that.
That makes sense. It's a picture of them looking at each other. Yeah, Caesar plays on your guest quarters, in the intendant's quarters, your mirror ship, or a headquarters. Twice each turn, you may stop 2 personnel present from opposite quadrants to draw a card. Yeah, double point boxes for your file mission reports from this quadrant, or for opposite quadrant missions. So she can get this. You got them together, and you start drawing cards. Draw a card. Okay, very good. She's got leadership, nav, diplomacy, and officer, which I think are pretty standard for the Kira persona, and she's an officer. And an 7, 8, 8, with the 8 being the last 8 being an 8 plus X.
Yeah. No collector info yet, so this is still pretty early. And with all of our text spoilers, especially, this is all subject to final changes.
Do we have another case of an alpha person naming a mirror personnel in their lore as their opposite?
Naming them as their opposite? Oh, no, it's usually the other way around.
Right. I guess
So
because
no,
all
as
the
long as
intendants will be because all the intendants are named the intendant.
right.
Right. Okay. Wild. All right. Very good. All right. Fun. I'm looking forward to it. I still haven't put together a KCA deck, or necessarily. I haven't played a Terran Empire deck in quite a while. But even when I did, it was kind of a split TOS Terran Empire. We download everything deck.
Yeah. I actually just got, I talked about on our last show that KCA deck that I played in the last tournament. And I got some feedback from Com Decker, who I stole it from, and the couple of changes I made. And the thing that we had talked about it as far as being uncertain what to do was assigning support personnel with Dominion War efforts. And he had reminded me that you can actually also download to the outpost as long as this was still matching. So that's why he had the Cardassian Alliance outpost with the Klingon ship. So you could go either way that way. You're still throttled by guest quarters, but I could see that giving you a little bit more in the way of options for whether you want to download another leader this turn, or you want to play a free play and download an ASP and use your card play some other way. So that's still I think there's only 5 sport personnel in there, but it's a quick deck. Your game's not going to be that long, so it could definitely be handy.
Well, as long as the personnel you're getting are better, you know what I mean?
Right, and that's the point I made. Was the times I really found it, I was about half the time I was making the choice was, well, do I play this personnel who would be, I could use my card play to download a leader, and then this personnel in my hand is free, or do I use my card play to play this personnel who in my hand who would otherwise be free, so that I can then use ASP to download somebody? So in those cases, almost always better to get the leader, because A, they're going to be a better personnel, and B, they're going to enable future free plays.
I guess if it was a late game thing and you really needed a skill to get past something, that's when the sport personnel are valuable, right? So you can get exactly what you need when you need it.
And there are a handful of very key personnel in there. You mentioned before, there's the greed, cunning personnel to get past the game. There's another guy who has 2 navigation, which is key for some dilemmas these days. And there's even a guy in the tent that has double empathy. It breaks your thingy-mabobber. It breaks the engine, the quadrant, reshaping the quadrant, but it can be nice if you really need to get past that doorway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. You know what? Feedback both ways. Now, whoever's going to run the deck next will have some more information. So excellent. Any other bits? I do have one other thing to go back to the Kira that we saw.
Sure.
All right. I just got a note from someone in the know. Apparently, the intendant is not bold nor italics. So it's just a reference for playing to her for free.
Okay.
Which I guess makes sense, because all the intendants probably say Kira and Reese, so you don't have to have mirror opposite on both sides. That would be weird.
Yeah.
All right, very good. So if you listened to the spoiler and then tuned out for the deck talk, and now we're back to the spoiler again, sorry, you got it wrong. All right. So that was all the 3 things I think we're going to talk about, including looking forward to the tournament in 2 weeks. Do we have anything else we want to talk about before we depart?
I don't think so. Next week, we don't have a tournament, but we do have a Star Trek-related event. So if we do have time to record next week, I'll report back on that. Otherwise, it'll come back.
I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes, because it's either going to be great or awful.
Yep. Either way, I think so. Either way, I think it should still be entertaining in either a great or an awful way.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
And speaking of, I need to watch the animated series. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what you're going to watch, and then we'll look ahead. Perhaps we will have another spoiler for you. We'll see what we can do. Okay?
All right. That sounds like a plan. In the meantime, I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I will draw to end.